DBSCG things.
What's up, Yuhp gang? It's your boy Tex, and welcome back to Yuhp DBSCG things. And today we're going over another very exciting deck profile, guys. This is going to be a deck that I've seen prowling around my locals for the last few weeks. This is King Piccolo. But before we get into the deck, I do want to say if you guys are wanting custom mats in their sleeves, absolutely check out Promats, guys. This is the best place to go get your custom card needs. And exclusively during this month of October, we have this gorgeous Halloween mat that just came out. Orders for this mat are already live, so if you do decide to go get a mat from Promats, make sure you use the promo code YUHP to save on your entire order. With that being said, guys, if you guys enjoyed this profile or my content in general, remember to hit all those buttons for me, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And with that being said, let's turn this around and dive in. Alrighty, you guys, and here is the deck, the King Piccolo deck. I hope you guys enjoy the list. Go ahead and talk about your deck and anything else you want to talk about.
Alright, so I've been testing with this deck pretty hard since the set came out. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did, but it's honestly really fun. It plays somewhat similar in terms of, like, it has a bunch of free play like the Red King Piccolo. So, I mean, you're getting a lot of advantage off of it, and because you're green, you get access to stuff like Dormant, the bo1, which I don't run in here, but it is something you can run. But we'll just get into talking about this. So leader, he has an auto on the front side. When you attack, you take a life, draw a card. You can play a 2-cost Demon Clan card from your hand. Then he's awakened 4 or less, or if you have 3 or more Demon Clans on your side of the field, I believe they have to have an energy cost of 2. Yeah, energy cost of 2 or more in play. That awaken usually doesn't come up. I find myself, I usually speed run to 4 life as fast as possible. It's just aggro, be aggressive, and just go off with it. So, now on the awaken side, he has a permanent, which I actually don't use much. When one of your Namekian or Demon Clans will be KO'd by an opponent's skill, I can place one of my Demon Clans for my Z energy in the drop instead. Usually this deck, of all the decks that came out this set, this is the one that probably uses Z energy the least. The only reason you even need to worry about it is when your Z leader gets he gets plus 5k in crit, which we'll talk about in a minute. But beyond that, it really doesn't use a lot of Z energy. Plus, green didn't get a good Z battle card. Like, the Frieza's the only one that's super standout. But anyway, he has an auto. When he attacks, draw a card, play a Demon Clan with an energy cost 3 or less, or a Piccolo Jr. with an energy cost 3 or less and 15k power or less. So it opens up a few more targets, mainly for the symbols, the other 3 costs, and then the Piccolo Jr. counterattack. Usually you're not playing him, but it's an option. Then we're talking about the Z leader. This guy comes out for 2 Z energy when you have 2 or less life. So you have to be at a very low life total to get here, but he's very strong. So he has a permanent where all Namekians and Demon Clans in general gain 5k. And then a permanent, if you have a King Piccolo in your Z energy, he also gains an additional 5k in crit. And actually, his other Z Awaken condition, you have to have a King Piccolo in your drop area, so that is something else. Then he has an activate main once per turn. You can play a Demon Clan energy cost 3 or less. So usually on the turn you're going into him, you want to swing with the leader, Z Awaken ideally mid-battle. And then after so you'll get the play off of him, and then you can play another off of the Z Awaken. So, yeah, a lot of free play and a lot of very easy aggression. So, going to the actual main deck, most important card in the deck is this King Piccolo. He has Barrier, which is fantastic. Auto when he's played, if you have a Demon Clan in play, you get to draw a card. And then auto limit 1, when you play a Demon Clan with a energy cost of 3 or less by a skill, you get to draw an additional card and take a life if you want. So it helps with your awakening, it helps you keep a massive hand up, and it's fantastic. And I effectively run 6 of it. This Peel Off Shun Mai has a skill where it puts itself in the drop, play the King Piccolo. You want to see this card. Ideally, you mulligan pretty much for this card every time. There's not a case where you want to keep something. If you don't see this card, you got to fall back. But yeah, those are the most important card in the deck. I find when I don't see it, things go very bad. Next, 3 Piano Fitting Aid, or what is that? Faithful Aid, sorry. Auto once played, it's a top 5 searcher for Demon Clan, Namekian, specified cost 4 or less, or energy cost 4 or less, and then Unison, specified cost of 2. So, generic searcher, there's not much else to it. 4 of this tambourine. He has an auto when he's played, pay a green, you can draw a card. Sometimes if you get really unlucky on your first turn and you don't see the King Piccolo, you can pay the energy, just that way you use the energy, and you get a draw out of it. Otherwise you don't use it much. He has an auto when he comes into play. You can KO something 4 or less, which is really nice. This deck is very good about keeping battle cards off board as long as they don't have barrier. Barrier is really the only thing that gives trouble. Yeah, great card. And obviously he'll be 15k when you're on your Z Awaken. Another card that is absolutely fantastic. The Symbol. He has an auto when he attacks, choose 2 of your demon clans and give them +5. And another auto, when you combo with him, pay 1 and you give double strike to your King Piccolo leader. Now that does matter that it says King Piccolo, because that means you cannot give it to your Piccolo Jr. Z Awaken. I don't really know why they did that, but they did. But otherwise, ideally you're swinging with this guy, beefing up your other guys, and again, he'll be a 15k, possibly a 20k when you're Z Awakened, and it's just, he puts down a lot of pressure. The double strike also helped me win a match I played today, which was very, very nice. Next, for the other member that we primarily play, Drum. He's similar to the old one, where he's a blocker. When he's played, you can KO any battle card. And then he has a really good Activate Battle that you can combo him from drop. And if you don't put it in your Z Energy, it warps itself. But you can just put it right in your Z Energy. And otherwise, after you've used his Z Energy, he gets removed from the game. But the fact that he's pretty much a free combo from drop is fantastic. And again, being a blocker that comes out and KOs something is really strong. Next, I have 3 of the Piccolo Jr. So he is similar to the old promo one, where he has barrier instead of like blocker, and he's a counterattack limit 1, so counter, play the card, and you can play him for free if you have a demon clan with specified cost, with an energy cost of 2 or more, and your life is 3 or less. So free negates are always good, and again, you're usually going down pretty low in life with this deck, so it's not hard to get him online. He's a very good card. You can also play him off of your Leader's Awaken side if you want. So yeah, there's several options for him. This card is extremely busted. The King Piccolo 4-drop. He has an Evolve for 1 on top of a King Piccolo, which it is 1 generic, so you can play this in the red version, or just any deck in the future that gets a King Piccolo. He can fit in there. He also has an auto limit 1. When you play one of your demon clans off your lead skill, you pay a green and he'll come into play. So he can come out very easily. Then he has an auto when he swings. He instantly restands himself and buffs 2 of your demon clans by 5k each. So it is insane. You play him, if you have 2 symbols on board, he swings, 20k swing, swings again. One of the symbols swings, give them both 5k. The other symbol swings, give them both 5k. So you got 20k, 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 25k, I believe, is how that works out. So it's just a lot of pressure. This card is absolutely insane. I love it. Next, for our duo main finishers for green, 3 of the Piccolo Jr. Faded Rival and 3 of the Son Goku Faded Rival. This guy can evolve, the Piccolo Jr. can evolve off of the Piccolo Jr. counterattack, sorry. So you have 2 ways to get him out. His auto when he attacks is he can make your opponent discard a card. That's not once per turn, so he also has dual attack, which is very strong. He can also come out for 1 energy if you have this guy in play, which the Goku is a double strike barrier 30k. You can evolve him, but that's not really relevant in this deck. When he's played, if your leader card's green, KO something ignoring barrier. He's really the only piece of barrier removal in the deck, so it's very important to keep him in mind, depending on the matchup that you're in, because barrier cards can be very, very obnoxious. And then he has actually main 2 green. Put Earthling, Namekian, or Saiyan card in your Z Energy to the bottom of your deck and play him. So he works very well with this, because super combos the Saiyan. You can use himself, you can use the Piccolo Jr., King Piccolo. Keep in mind, not the Demon Clans. The Demon Clans you cannot use for that skill, but with that...
Is there natural shuffle in the deck?
There's not really, but the fact... I mean, you can recycle this.
Recycling super combos is snap.
Yeah, you can recycle your super combos, which is extremely strong. So that's a nice thing. I don't mind using these early, because if I have him, then I can at least get one of them back. So it's very, very good. So yeah, you can get for 3 energy, if your opponent's at 3 energy, it'll cost you 3 energy to get these guys out, and they are extremely strong. Especially the Piccolo Jr. I like poking at Unisons with him a lot. It's like, okay, if you're not going to let me get to your life, I'm just going to start discarding you a bunch. Which this deck is not hand control, but you could definitely try something with hand control. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's an option. Now I have 4 of the Gohan super combo. I'm debating this turning into the Salnel super combo from set 4, because something that I realized is I could be running, instead of this Peel Off Shun Mai, I can instead run the, it's the Assimilate yellow extra card, because that searches a Namekian, or it just searches a Namekian and energy costs 2 or less.
You're talking about the super combo from the old starter deck,
right? Yeah, I believe it's either starter deck or it's from set 4. Yeah. It'll be your life set 5 or less, I think, is how it works. But yeah, you could have that. You can have Assimilate instead of these 2, and then you'll have searchable super combos as well. So you can use your Assimilate early just to quickly get your King Piccolo as opposed to playing.
That you can recycle with the Goku skill.
Yeah, it's just a shame. The only thing that kind of sucks about Assimilate is the fact that you can't get your 3-drop Piccolo Jr. If you could hit 3 or less, that card would definitely be amazing in this deck, but not quite there. Either way, though, this super combo is great. I think everyone knows what they do. Just bottom deck, draw 2, super good. And you get down to life very quickly. Spoiler, I run a Unison, so 3 of the Frieza counterplays comes into play, KO something, 7 or less. It's stupid strong, enough said. This is my secret rare. There are several options for secret rares you can run. You can run Cell Xeno, which can come out with just the Goku and Piccolo. You can run the the Janembu secret rare, which is the counter. Yeah. I have this guy. I don't have.
You could even do the Kibito Buu.
Yeah, Kibito Buu would also be pretty good. But with this guy, I really like using this guy early because he can basically come out just for 2 energy. As soon as you have 2 energy, he can just come out pretty much. So, and he'll discard your opponent 2 cards if they can't rest 4 cards. So early on, even if they get rid of him immediately, you still get some really good value out of it because he'll just come out and just like, all right, discard 2. Otherwise, you can use it late game if your opponent's pressuring and they don't want this to come out. They'll have to tap 4 cards to stop it. But that early game discard is so nice, and I think it catches pretty much everyone off guard. Otherwise, though, if you want probably the more competitive one, Janembu is probably the play. But this card, don't sleep on this card. It's a fantastic card. Kai of Time works as well. I digress. Pan, yeah, any of the generic ones.
Oh yeah,
works
Pan's actually
good.
really good for this deck because you do spam the board a lot. You don't have to rely on your opponent to get a field for you to meet the requirements to make your 0.
Correct. So yeah, there's a lot of good secret rares you can run with this deck. Now for my Unison, it is the new Piccolo 2-cost Unison. He has an auto when something's KO'd. As long as you have a Z energy, he gains 5k, which is nice because his -1 gives him dual attack. You just need to make sure you -1 first, and then give him the 5k if you want to do that. But otherwise, his +1 is you just draw a card. So it's just a generically really good Unison. And it sucks because your opponent can kill him easily, but since you're green, you can probably deal with it just because you have Dormant, Hidden Potential, which will be coming up in a sec. This deck runs several blockers, so it's like you have a lot of options to protect him. So this guy is amazing for this deck. If I could find another Unison to play, I think I would like one that maybe has a little more tech to it, but this card is still great.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna be honest, dude. There hasn't been not a single Unison ever that has came out that has a plus to draw a card that wasn't competitively good.
Yeah, that is true.
We can go
the
all
Piccolo
the way back
Jr.
to,
Unison.
we can go all the way back to the very first one, which was the 3-drop Trunks, which was the +2 draw card until you got to the -5. That card was competitive for forever. We had the red Piccolo. That card was literally competitive until it got hit.
I missed that card so
We
much.
had the new 3-drop Baby Unison. That card's still competitive today. So, in my opinion, just any Unison that has a straight-up draw card effect on it is just really good.
It can be constant pluses. It's utterly insane. Especially if some Unisons can have a way to get you even more cards, which is absolutely insane. But anyway, we'll go on to the extra cards I got. So I got 4 Dormant Potential Unleashed. Green's best Flood Negate. Green's best worst Flood Negate, I would say, because you have to have a Unison play for it. It'll be free. You have to discard a card. It doesn't negate the attack itself, but your opponent gets 1 more attack after that. Pair this with a blocker and Homicidal Clones, and you are pretty much safe for the turn. But yeah, it's just the hand price can be a little bit steep sometimes. You could run the Bupo, but for me, I find, even though this deck does a lot of free play, I like to have that energy to make more aggressive plays. So a lot of the time, it's like I feel like I wouldn't want to spend the energy on it. Plus, that can be countered a lot easier than Dormant. But
especially with Red's relevancy in the meta right now.
100%.
You almost don't want to even trust Bupo.
It's like, oh man, can't wait to Bupo. It's like, oh, Vegeta. Yeah. Oh, Denial of Hope. You run Denial of Hope? Yeah, I'm weird. Yeah, the 2 Homicidal, you could probably bump this up if you wanted to, but I think 2 is fine. You draw so many cards in this deck between your 1-drop King Piccolo, your leader, and just you go through cards so fast, which is part of what I love with this deck. So this is just a great stopper. Again, pair this with Dormant, and you can pretty much protect yourself for a turn.
And being that your leader is a self-awakener, you can basically turn that on by your turn 2.
Yeah, almost always it is on by turn 2. Especially if my opponent swings at me once, and then it's like, yeah, it's
100%.
Pretty well GG at that point for that. And then here's my little tech because I absolutely hate the SS4 Gogeta matchup, Big Amor. This card is kind of a lifesaver for that and other and just like blue where they're wanting to play their big battle cards and swing. It's 2 energy, so it's kind of steep. Leader card's green. Your opponent can't attack with 5 cost or more battle cards. It is fantastic for that. Sucks it costs 2, but again, as probably seen in the video that got posted today, I struggle with the SS4 matchup quite a bit. I still don't really know how to play against it very well. So this card is kind of like my lifeline to maybe give me that chance. Hopefully I can actually learn that matchup and stop sucking.
That card actually works really good in a lot of matchups. Like, this is good against Sin if you don't want to deal with any triple strikers.
Yeah, no, it's really good right now in general.
A lot of decks in this meta right now are playing battle cards.
They're playing big and tall.
Costs, so.
Big and tall is all around. So this is one of the only decks right now that I think can viably do like a weenie rush type thing, because that's what this deck is. Like, you're playing a bunch of low cost battle cards, which is definitely a double edged sword. Because again, like talking about red, which I feel like red in general is probably this deck's worst matchup, because your battle cards, unless you're Z Awakened, are all pretty much 10k, maybe 15 if you have Drum. Those can be just absolutely destroyed just because they get negged down, and it's like, that's it. So this card is really good to help kind of stall things a little bit if you're, especially like, again, Gogeta matchup. That extra turn can be a lifesaver. Plus, if they get that Gogeta out, they swing at your board, Jesus Christ, it is basically game at that point.
Absolutely. Especially since you mentioned this deck free plays so much, you'll probably have turns where you have the energy to go ahead and rely on Big Amor.
Yeah, and again, as opposed to this, I feel much more comfortable with this than Bupo, because Bupo can be countered. Right now, there's really not a counter extra card thing.
Absolutely.
They should probably do that.
And the cool thing about it, you're still green, so if you do activate this and they decide to switch it up and not go big and start hitting you with little weenies, Dormant's going to take care of that for you anyways. So.
Yep, so it'll stop them one way or another. So yeah, I think it's a really good card, and for this deck is very helpful. Now for my Z deck, obviously I have the Z leader, I already went over that. I'm not actually running a full Z deck. Part of that is because green doesn't really have a better Z battle card than this right now. It's kind of unfortunate. The other 2 cards I would play is that 1-drop Black Vegeta, though. I think that card's just generically really good. Right, any deck can run it. So.
And what else did green get? Like the Piccolo that shoots out a Gotenks card?
Yeah, it's not for green itself. Yeah, no, green didn't get like an SR good Z battle card. Right. Hopefully next set they kind of remedy that. This Frieza, though, is pretty interesting because he's got deflect double strike. When he's played, kill something 5 or less, and then auto once per turn at the cost of 1 of your Z energy. When one of your battle cards is with the energy cost of 2 or more attacks, cause him to discard. So if you have this and the 6-drop Piccolo out, I mean, you're getting like 3 discards right there. So it's pretty good, and it's a double strike. My only wish with it is it costs 2 energy. I kind of wish it was 1 energy and then 1 Z energy, or 1 energy, 2 Z energy if they want to balance it a little better. Just because the 2 energy and then 1 Z energy, 2 if you want to use its effect, is just a little much for a 15k double strike. Because, like, double strike's great. 15k, again, a lot of this deck is very low to the ground, so it could have used a bit more power. But I digress. Otherwise, that's pretty much the deck. General rule of thumb I've noticed with this deck, don't be afraid to, like, really try to push your opponent. Obviously, that's very matchup dependent, but this deck has a lot of really powerful pushing potential, and I don't think people quite see it coming because it's like, oh, just a bunch of little 10k battle cards. You get 2 symbols out, you're having 20, 25k, you get the King Piccolo out, double, it's basically a dual attack, 25 if you're Z-Awakened. This deck puts out a lot of pressure, and it can absolutely stomp some decks. Top off the fact that sans the lack of barrier removal, this deck can deal with boards very effectively between drum killing stuff, tambourine killing the weenies, you have the Frieza counterplay. This deck can really keep up and usually can avoid your opponent like steamrolling you just because of all the little things it has that it can do. So this is one of the decks I think people should give a try more. It is a lot of fun, and I can't recommend it more.
Alrighty. So with that being said, that was your deck. Do you have any final shout-outs?
Shout out to Boofy 2-piece. I can't help make stupid jokes.
Boofy and the 2-piece?
Yep. Can't wait for that sequel series. All my buddies, everyone here putting up with me playing King Piccolo for the last 4 weeks. Maybe at some point I'll play another deck, but this deck is a lot of fun. And also shout out to Andy Twig. He is getting married this weekend. He's down in Texas, so I hope he has a fantastic wedding. And also shout out to Andrew Leach. He is now Shaniqua.
Alright, absolutely shout out to homie getting married, man. With that being said, guys, that was the King Piccolo deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed this list. If you guys did, remember to hit all those buttons for me, like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.
Yeet.